but I'm recording now. He'll get here when he gets here. Because
Simon, uh, love the guy, but he
punctuality,
yeah,
it's
yes,
it's a rare trait.
amongst other things,
Yeah.
but that one is what we're highlighting today, right now.
But yeah. So yeah, Mandalorian making a strong case for itself as the
Yep.
definitive Star Wars of our era. I think.
Let's uh, let's start with our formalities. Everybody, welcome to Secret Hideout Podcast, Special Edition, Mandalorian Watch. Is that what we're calling Mandalorian Watch?
I don't know. We never even talked about it.
Mandalorian episode rundown. I don't know. But fifth episode. Uh, Go ahead, Jordan. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. So this episode really stands out. I feel like a lot of the stuff this series has been setting up has been kind of like laying the groundwork for, just is starting to come together in this episode. There was some stuff that, is pretty cool in previous episodes, like, Mando just jumping out of a ship and using his jetpack to land, right? Like all these little things that were pretty cool. And in this episode, it's like, all right, now we're just going to do it all. We're going to do it all in one episode. We're going to have a whole crew of Mandalorians. They're going to fall out of the sky, like jump pack commandos or whatever the hell. They're going to fight with the way through a city. We're going to have a couple ships fighting a pirate crew. We have a little bit of world building with, maybe we should save this part for Simon because it's his favorite character. With the X-Wing guy, right? Going back to Coruscant and talking to the mid-level official played by, what's his name? I always forget this guy's name. You know what I'm talking about though, right? He's a comedian. He's been in like so many things. And he was on,
Yeah.
why can I never, I see him all,
He's
he's
in
like,
Poker Face.
yeah, he's in Poker Face, yeah. I don't know, look it up while I'm talking. I know, I feel like he's one of those actors.
He was in your favorite episode.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, he plays the cannibal on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is meant to be a cameo or a real role, but he's like some mid-level functionary guy in the New Republic who's just like, oh, well, we've got like a backlog of all this stuff and we don't have any resources. And we see, I forget her name, but she's like the secret Imperial in hiding, right, within the organization. Right. Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff, and it leads to one outcome that I think we kind of predicted, but it's not that hard to predict, which is that they're kind of embracing Bo-Katan as like she's the one who can sort of bring us all together and like restore Mandalore, right? But another being like, okay, so now the Mandalorians are just gonna like they're gonna take that plot of land and just like live there, like it's not without hiding, which is I guess a change. And the Forge Master, whatever her actual name is kind of embracing it all, which I was not expecting. I thought there's going to be a bit more like some sort of conflict between the different Mandalorians and their different ways or creeds or whatever. But I guess she's like, no, this is what we got to do because otherwise we're going to be living in caves for the rest of our lives, right? So we may as well. I was impressed. I was impressed with the pacing and the flow of everything and all the ideas they're throwing around. And there's a lot of action, but it doesn't feel like just action. It feels like, interesting stuff is happening, stuff that I think is going to lead to more interesting stuff. And world building, like real world building that feels natural, not like, it's not like we're going from this planet to this planet to add this new character and maybe there'll be a spin-off, right? Of this. No, it's like this feels like it's happening in the world of Star Wars, but isn't bending over backwards to try to be like set up other series or something.
Right.
Yeah, I dug it, and I think this. I mean, it feels like they're kicking off some momentum here. So if they follow through on all this with the rest of the season, this could be a really strong season. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I get the feeling you liked it.
I loved it. I love the ending where there's like this mysterious side to it. It's not. You have like who rescued Moff Gideon?
Right.
Was this his plan, or is it another person above him, which we all think is general? Not general. Is it? the blue face guy.
Shoot.
Not General. Is it General?
In our defense, Simon's usually the guy who looks stuff up while we're talking, and now with
Thrawn.
Thrawn.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Thrawn.
Maybe.
Who's the one that's had this master? Because it seems like they're building to the one. Is it One Republic? Not One Republic. That's a band. The New Republic. Not New Republic.
The First Order.
The First Order. There you go.
Right, yeah.
They're showing how incompetent the rebellion was. Like they're good for a fight, but setting up a new world, a
functioning
galaxy
government, is a lot harder.
They're not quite adept to it.
Yeah.
So today's episode, there's a crazy fun cameo. I don't think you caught it.
I did not, but I saw some buzz that that guy in that bar for like a minute is from some other series that I guess I've never seen. But
Zeb. Hopefully, is it showing?
I thought the effects looked suspiciously good for a one-off character, so I'm like, oh, this must be like some guy, someone I've never heard of.
Yeah,
because that looked really good. Let me just say, for a TV show, that looks like really good.
Yeah, no, it really did. It's one of my favorite characters from Rebels. Mm-hmm. He's named Zeb. He's just he's the muscle, and he's one of the rare species or rare. Would this be aliens from his planet? They're pretty much all wiped out, and this was because of the Empire. The Empire just cleaned them out. They're adequate, if not better than the Wookiees.
Okay.
Because they're more agile, they're strong, and they have state of the art, or not state of the art, some of the best hand to hand combat. In the galaxy. So they found him a threat. Stole some weapons that killed his whole or killed all his people, his family. Anyways, it's really interesting. It's real fun. It's like in the later seasons where it gets more serious. But Zeb was in it, man. I loved it. I kind of, at first I was like, we're going to get Zeb, more Zeb. But I think this was cool for him just to pop up and say hello, Right. I don't think we need a whole series on Zeb. We had Zeb. Zeb's really a strong-headed character that he needs to be offset with something. And the Mandalorian is just too bland for that.
You can't have more than one stoic tough guy. It's just too much.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Another thing I liked, I loved that they chose, I felt like it was a very nostalgic style of show, where a redemption story, we have these Mandalorians who are, stranded on this piece of land that's very deadly. Like we talked about the last episode.
Literally land, sea, and air. There are giant monsters.
They're just killing them off.
Always coming.
And we're reminded of how strong they are and how great they are in numbers and in unison,
right?
In this episode, and kind of redeeming that quality of who they are. And you really wanted them to win. You really rooted for them to pull out and like old school comic book, old school TV show, 90s, where the hero wins. And you feel good about it. And then they promote Bo-Katan, like you mentioned. That was amazing. I really want her to be a focal point too. And it looks like she's like the lead now of this show. Like she's the new Mandalorian, which will be actually cool, right? Because just based off the title, it's not Din Djarin, it's the Mandalorian. So really anybody from that race or those people could take the mantle and take the show and lead it into a new direction, which is pretty cool. I think I like that. I like that thought. When I was watching, I was like, oh, what if Din Djarin dies and she's the new Mandalorian? and it's the Mandalorian. Would that bother me? And I was like, nah, I kind of like it. I dig it. I don't know if that's what they're gonna do, but
I mean, she's a great character, and it's a great actress. So like, they get that, whether it's this show or some other, it's like, yeah, she could continue being this character, and they can give her real stories, right, to carry. She can carry those stories. In other words, right, like this is not someone I'd be annoyed. This isn't how I felt watching like the Boba Fett show, where it's just like,
right.
They go back to the Mandalorian and immediately I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, I didn't even realize how much I missed this guy until just now. I feel like if they wanted to make a show just about her, I don't know, and the refounding of Mandalorian society, I'm like, I would watch that. I think I would watch that, right? Even if Din Djarin wasn't in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see more of how she lost her blade. She lost the sword.
Oh, right.
Because never explains that.
Right.
And so,
I mean, presumably, so the idea of her being like sort of a bridge between like these different, I guess, sects or tribes or whatever of the Mandalores, right? So this has been very focused on her building this sort of like connection with Djarin's tribe, right? And the Forge Master, I guess her heart softens a little bit and grows 3 sizes or whatever, and she's like, you know what, you can take your helmet off, it's fine. Like she's being practical. She's like, I understand now. Like we need to get over this. Otherwise, if we're going to come together, right, and rebuild our society, at some point, those people who were with her the last time got to come back, right? Or they got to bring in other Mandalorians. And so I guess the question is, what does that look like? And that will presumably bring back some of these questions about the Darksaber. Or either that or the Darksaber, she doesn't need it anymore if she can defeat the Mythosaur in some sort of ritual combat battle thing, right? That establishes that she is the true Queen of Mandalore or whatever, right? So I'm wondering if that's going to happen. Presumably it has to happen this season. If okay, that's a good question. Do we think the retaking of Mandalore is something that happens this season at all? Or is that so big that it's just next season or something, Because there's a lot of other things happening here. There's, what's his name? Moff Gideon is loose now. Apparently Mandalorians did it. Whether they did it themselves or they were just hired as bounty hunters or whatever to go and fetch him for somebody else, we don't know. Because obviously a lot of Mandalorians work as bounty hunters. So it could have just been... Is there some other tribe of Mandalorians who was sympathetic to the Empire? Right? We don't know.
There was a sect of Mandalorians that pledge allegiance to the Empire.
Okay.
And they're in all white, like stormtrooper Mandalorian gear, which is crazy.
Okay.
And this was that was in Clone Wars.
Okay. So maybe they're bringing that back. Since they're bringing stuff in from the Clone Wars all the time, maybe they will.
Yeah, they probably were loyal to Moff Gideon, and they, it's because it sounds like, it looks like there's a lot going, like you said, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
They bombed Bo-Katan's planet. And it wasn't just a few fighters. There's a whole bunch of fighters.
And those were like the good fighters, not just TIE. Like those are the nice ones. Oh, yeah. Someone spent
money. Yeah, they weren't stuck on some desert. They're floating around on one of those cruisers, and they're stockpiled, and they're getting some kind of money somehow, or credits, whatever you call them, and they're prospering. So, and they're organized enough to rescue Moff Gideon, right, while he's in prison. So it has to be someone bigger than him.
And they knew about the transport, which means it's probably that spy or someone like her who told them when he was being transported and where, right? And also, there's still the whole cloning situation where she stole all that cloning gear. So this could also eventually tie into the idea that they want to recreate a new body for the Emperor or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of things here that they could leverage and build on in the future.
Yeah. And also, they have enough weight to get the pirates to, be on board, to participate and help in whatever matters they're doing. So
I wonder if we're going to see more of that, this concept of the pirate nation or whatever, what do you call it, right? Like there's not just this one ship. There's a whole bunch of pirates.
Yes, there's a bunch of pirates in Clone Wars. Having an army or a pirate legion, I don't know what you call them. He's on the is it the Kessel Run at Disneyland? He's the guy that speaks before the
Hondo.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you for joining us, Simon.
What's up? This is your boy Simon. Right back at you.
Anyway, so
my intro's old, but it's all good.
That's our episode. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one, everybody.
We look forward to the next one. You
don't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here.
Oh. All right, that's cool. I hear that.
Right on time. I think me and Jordan were dragging on.
Yeah, we were filling a little time, hoping that you would show up.
All right. Well, here I am. I'm sorry for being so late.
So, Simon, now that you have chosen to grace us with your presence, what are your thoughts? That's what we've all been waiting for 20 minutes. Just filling space, hoping you would show up and share your wisdom with us. What are your thoughts on this?
Well,
episode?
I think this episode was meh. It was fine.
Okay. So
no, it was amazing. I think this probably by far felt the most heroic, I guess. Obviously based off the episode, but like in the sense that it was inspiring, it was emotionally, like I was moved by it. So like from the very get-go, when they had kind of when they have Captain Tevas, I think that's his name, but man, my Korean uncle, I love that he's back. I love that he's acting like a cop. And
we called it, Jordan, didn't we call it?
I know. Before you got on, I was like, so Simon messaged us earlier today, and he's like, "This is the best episode ever." And in my head, I'm thinking, that Korean guy's back, isn't he? And then I turn the episode on, and there he is. Not only is he back, he gets to be the one who he stands up for what's right, and he saves the day. I'm like, this is why Simon was so excited. That's all. This is his favorite character in all of Star Wars. He freaks out every time he's on screen.
He, just like Simon, he manipulates the Mandalorian to do what he wants.
Whoa!
He uses the Mandalorian to.
Manipulate is a strong word. Okay, he's just reminding and emphasizing the creed and the way. Okay, so let's not poo-poo on the motive here. But he starts off and he ends with it. I thought that was great. I have a question, and it's probably not for Jordan because he doesn't watch the cartoons. But in Rebels, is that guy from Rebels? Do you think that's the same guy from Rebels?
That's Zeb. Yeah.
Is that Zeb? Okay, that's dope.
We had a whole conversation about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I won't talk about that. But Tim Meadows. Oh my God! Freaking Tim Meadows.
That's his name. That's his name. I was like, it's the guy. He was on Poker Face. It was like, oh, dude, that was amazing. And I was just like, yeah. He's like, hey, I'm in acquisitions, so all this and that. But it was such a. Anyways, great episode. Phenomenal episode. But I was actually emotionally moved. So when I guess he was manipulated, Din Djarin goes to the council and talks to them, right? And then Vizsla shows up, who I guess is played by Jon Favreau, right? And you get the sense that like he's gonna like say, why should we do this? Why should we help these people? And then just heroic fashion, because we're Mandalorians. That's why. It's like, hell yes, this is phenomenal. This is amazing. And then like they step up and they fight for what is right. And I'm just hearing that Body Taylor song, I Need a Hero, over and over and over, just like in Shazam Fury of the Gods.
I need a hero.
Oh my gosh, it was totally the soundtrack for this episode.
Yeah, I was telling Jordan that too. I was like, this felt very nostalgic. It felt like an old 90s type hero redemption movie show.
Right.
It had all the good feels.
Yeah, it was this classic sense of there was pirates and they're overtaking Navarro, and just because Din Djarin is friends with Carl Weathers' character, which Grief Karga, High Magistrate Grief Karga. He says, yeah, we should step up, or I should step up. And like, it was all really, aside from the supposed manipulation by my uncle, it was just like, it was all this sense like, hey, I know you guys aren't obligated to do it, but I'm just asking, I need help to fight against these pirates.
Well, something they've established in this series, right, is like Din Djarin, once he's decided that something is the right thing to do, he just kind of does it, even if it's
right.
Like, even if it's incredibly stupid, he'll just do it,
dude.
He'll just walk in and do it, right? So. Right. I think that's what your uncle knew. He's like, oh, because he says that, right? But you're going to help him though, because he's your friend, and,
right?
Right. And Din's like, yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. The only question was whether he convinced everyone else to go with him. But like, even if they didn't, he would have gone in alone.
He would have gone anyways. Yeah, him and Grogu on his N1 steed, and he'll just go for it. Okay, Bo-Katan. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Something that. We talked about before in our second reaction episode for episode 2, Mandalorian season 3, like the predictions of it. It seems like things are coming together, and our predictions are actually coming to fruition. I just didn't expect, and I should have expected it, that the armorer gives Bo-Katan the blessing, that she walks in 2 worlds, and it's like, yes, this makes sense, because the armorer is basically a priest.
Here we go, an exegesis.
I mean, seriously though, seriously, she's a priestess. She's a priestess, right? And you not only need to make a king, you need not only like the savior figure to deem you as king, but you also. So
to follow on your point, it is true that like the Mandalorians, because they like, again, this is like, it's a religion. Right. It's a military order. It's like, it's all the same thing, right? So yeah, they need her to be like, I don't know, consecrated, like whatever. Like in other words, she can't just be the daughter of the previous king or whatever, right? She has to like do something, which apparently will be fighting the mythosaur at some point.
She's the blade of their religion. She can walk in the bowl.
She's blade.
That's a great reference. That's so true. That's exactly what a Messiah figure is, right? Yeah. She walks 2 worlds, and I think that the leader of the strict sect giving her permission to take off her helmet, huge deal, because she's like, you can't. She even realized that this small sect. How did she say it? The armor. She said it so well. It's just like. The way we do it is very few people will walk that way, but we're not. That's not all Mandalorians, and we need someone who understands who we are, but also like has their foot in the other world of Mandalorian.
So we
need to unite.
This is kind of where we were when you joined, Simon. She's like, the armor recognizes that like if they're going to retake Mandalore, they need like all the Mandalorians back together.
Right. Yep.
And they need to kind of get over some of these differences and just learn to live with it, because otherwise they'll never be able to rebuild their society, right?
That's exactly it.
Which was a bit of it's surprising to see character development for the armorer. Does she have a name, or is it just the armor?
No,
have they ever?
It's just the armor.
Yeah. Literally the most one-note character in the entire show, just always saying the same stuff, doing the same stuff, completely predictable. So I was definitely a little bit caught off guard by that.
Right.
Which I think shows, I mean, that's good storytelling. Right, is setting stuff up and then surprising you, right? And yeah, I do think it's smart for them to really deeply engage with like the underlying themes of Star Wars as a whole, right? Which I think the show is doing by like, I mean, it's again a little on the nose, literally calling it the mythosaur, but that's kind of what Star Wars is all about. It's quasi-religious, it's a little bit fantasy, it's a little bit sci-fi. It's this weird mix, and the people running this show understand it and are able to really dig into it. It's also interesting to hear you guys talk about. Yeah, it's very positive. Like these are good guys, and they're going to fight some bad guys, right? And this is not an era of good guys fighting bad guys as much as it was when Star Wars originally came out. We're to the point where it feels like a statement, right? Because like the last good Star Wars we saw was Andor, which is literally just a bunch of complicated people who are all kind of bad. right? And some of them choose to do bad things for the right reasons, but otherwise they're all just doing bad things. And also, even in the larger culture, I mean, currently DC is undergoing this massive reboot, and part of the reason is because they set up this world where like Superman kills people and everyone's kind of depressed, and everyone's sad. Like it is kind of, you're right. It is interesting to see a show that is just like, no, this is Star Wars. So like the good guys are going to show up and they're going to blow up the pirate ship and save the day. And that's it. There's no gray morality there. There's no complex motivations. It's like, it's the right thing to do. So we're going to do it. And that's it.
And like none of your favorite characters died like in every other series,
Right.
Everything else, like on TV, just in general, someone would die.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone pivotal would have died at this point already, and no one has. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
But Simon, Jordan had a question. I've been thinking about this whole time. It's a good question. It's about the duration of the rest of the season. Do we think that, and Jordan, word it better if I cannot, do we think that we'll see the Mandalorians capture and take over or reclaim Mandalore, or is that a bigger arc? Did I say it right?
Oh yeah, like is this season building up to them reestablishing Mandalore, or is that just too big a thing? It's going to happen in the next season, right? Like in this, because they've got a lot of different threads going, and I could see the conclusion of this season, the big finale, being a few things. Like there's this whole situation with Moff Gideon being apparently taken by Mandalorians, some other tribe. And I didn't know this until Josh told me like literally 10 minutes ago. But apparently in the cartoons, there is a tribe of Mandalores who are like loyal to the Emperor. And maybe they're going to be involved in this because they're bringing all this stuff back from the cartoons in different ways. There's this whole clone subplot thing where they're stealing cloning equipment. We see that spy in this episode.
Just real quick on her, I really hate her. So that means it's a very good character.
That's true.
Right? They're developing I really hate her.
That's
how
true.
Conniving and sneaky she is.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that they did that so well.
That's a good point. We have seen her in one episode, and we've seen her do one bad thing so far. But you're right. She shows up on screen. I'm like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing here? Like, she's up to something. What are you doing? You're right. She looks so sneaky all the time. And you're right. That's great. The actress is crushing it. She's really selling, because honestly, no joke. I think she did a good job in that. In what is it, episode 2 or 3?
Episode the convert.
2.
So I think that was 3.
It was 3. Okay. I think she did a good job of like acting like she was that dude's friend. And now she's doing a good job of acting like a total sociopath. And it's really convincing. All she has to do is stand there and you're like, she's up to something. she's got plots. They're happening there.
Like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. But so to answer your question, though, I was thinking about a lot, Jordan, and I think you're right. I think this is going to be at least 2 seasons to get to, I think. So this season and next season, at minimum, just because I think I don't know how fast they'll do it, but they need to establish themselves on this planet first that they just acquired and build up their army there. And then from there, then they could go ahead and reclaim Mandalore, because there'll be some kind of battle, like Moff Gideon, and I'm assuming it's General Thrawn that rescued him. They're planning something bigger, and they already knew where Bo-Katan was living, and they planned to kill her, and that's why they bombed her home, right? While Moff Gideon was still locked up, I'm assuming. Even if he wasn't, he didn't orchestrate that, right? He's just getting reacclimated to, life again. So I feel like I was rambling, but saying all that, I think there's a lot to process still. Like you said, there's a lot being flushed out, and I'm really excited for what's going on, because it doesn't have to tie into a million other things anymore. It could be its own thing. And I was telling Jordan, Simon, earlier that like the way they wrote the way the title of the show is called Mandalorian. So it's not Din Djarin, it's Mandalore. If Din Djarin dies, the show could continue if Bo-Katan, steps in and fills those shoes, which I wouldn't even mind. And like another thing is like, I didn't feel like Bo-Katan being a woman or whatever is being stuffed down my throat to be a lead. I believe her as a leader. I believe her as someone that demands this respect. And because they built that, right? It wasn't just like, I'm a woman, I'm strong, I fought my whole life to get blah blah blah. It wasn't like this preacher. It was just like, no, she spoke with her actions, right? And so I really would like to see her in a more prominent role somewhere. If it's not in Mandalorian, in her own show.
You know what's funny? I just realized that Mandalorians are basically the personification of Stoicism, right? It's just like the whole idea of not getting the emotions to be not getting your emotions the best of you. The whole idea, like the whole mask idea, is just like just the whole is that just do what you got to do and struggle through it, right? And Bo-Katan encapsulates that perfectly, right? Especially in her arc, all the way from Rebels, where the idea is she was at this high pedestal position. That's been taken away. She's been struggling through Mandalorian season 1, 2, and 3 just to earn it. And then Din Djarin takes the darksaber away from her. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna quit right now. It's just like, it's over. I can't do it anymore. And then she sees the mythosaur, and it's just like, oh, okay. And her earning the respect of this covert. Yeah, she earned it. She epitomizes a Mandalorian, and I can definitely fight alongside her kind of sense. It's just like she earns the loyalty of others, and that's what makes a good leader, and that's what makes her different than Din Djarin, who probably just wants to do his own thing, and hang out with Grogu all day. So.
Yeah. He just wants to rear him all day and be a father.
Right.
That's who he wants to be.
Yeah.
But yeah. I
don't
know. This episode was fantastic. I loved it. I feel the next episode is going to be slow. They're going to build up another story to something. I don't think it's going to be as adventurous as this one was, but it's my guess.
Yeah, you were going to say something, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm just wondering. So Katee Sackhoff, who previously was successful in sci-fi
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica. Okay, I was thinking it's a remake, a show from the 70s. Yeah. And I'm wondering if so sci-fi and fantasy are littered with like these performers who become really prominent for something. And then that becomes like the thing, right, that they're known for. And then occasionally, though, some of them are lucky enough to get like a second thing, right? You know what I mean? Like, this happens in genre when characters get really, like an actor gets really strongly identified with the character, and then they struggle to do anything else, especially in Star Wars. How many actors have become world famous by taking on a role in Star Wars and then either never did anything again or had to, I mean, Mark Hamill even was so strongly typecast as Luke Skywalker, he couldn't get good roles for a long time. And like the next really good thing he got was voice acting as the Joker, right? And so he's got those two roles. Those are the big ones he's had. Everything else is like supporting roles, right? I don't know if he's ever really gotten a starring role in anything else because he's Luke Skywalker. At that point, you can't get past it, right? And I'm wondering if this, like, if we're seeing Katee Sackhoff get that second role, right? Like, that she'll be known for now. We're like, there's going to be kids watching this show who've never seen Battlestar Galactica, and this is the thing she's going to be known for.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. I think
to me, she was Starbuck. I didn't even know she'd voice acted any of those cartoons. This show is the first time I've ever seen her in anything else. I'm like, this is great. I'd watch that. I'd watch the Bo-Katan show. I would watch that.
Yeah.
And if she gets, a few good seasons of this, she could be fortunate enough to be one of those like genre actors who like, now you're not just like the one hit wonder. You've got like two iconic characters that you played that were really impactful. And let's be honest, Star Wars is that's the peak of genre fame. If you get a character in there, you've got a career for life. Right? Like you're going to be getting paychecks to do stuff for the rest of your life.
Right.
So that's interesting to see happen. And yeah, I think regardless of the character earning it, I think the actress has earned it, right? Because she did go in and do like voice acting roles. It's not like she took on a starring role in something. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. So like, no, she spent years doing this relatively small role where she wasn't even on screen, and now it's paying off, right, with this much larger role. So yeah, I think that's really interesting to see happen, and congratulations to Katee Sackhoff for actually getting that second iconic role that so few actors ever get.
Seriously, talk about delayed gratification. Just another tenet of stoicism, just for her. Just seriously, like you wonder, like for other voice actors of Rebels or even Clone Wars, it's like, oh yeah, no, this is just a thing I'm doing. It's just a job. But for her, I bet she was thinking, you know what? I know Favreau. I know Filoni.
Right.
I'm set. I'm gonna invest.
She's been networking for years.
Exactly.
Building up
that
to
there's
this.
gonna be a live action project. I am just gonna work out every freaking day, not knowing that there will be a promise.
Just to be ready, just in case.
Exactly,
just in case.
dude.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, well done, well done for her. But yeah.
I bet Freddie Prinze Jr. is waiting for his chance to come back.
Right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, we can do a flashback. We can do a flashback. I'm here, guys. I'm here.
There's hundreds of people in Hollywood now. They have done one role on one show, and they're just waiting. They're waiting.
Right?
So they brought JarJar Binks back. He got a second shot. Dude. Come on.
You know? That
was so cool. I didn't realize who that was until after we talked about it.
Yeah.
And then they said his character is from a game show, almost like the Temple Run, almost like a Temple Run, where he's like a game show host.
Oh,
that's who his character is. So it goes deeper than just Jar Jar Binks, redemptive character. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's kind of a great thing, though, right? Because like you never saw his face as Jar Jar Binks.
Right.
You saw his face. Now that's him now.
That's him now. Exactly.
He can leave Jar Jar Binks behind in the past.
Right. It doesn't look like he died. So
right.
We'll see more.
Jordan mentioned
another thread that they've started that we haven't resolved, which is like it's because Grogu is like 50 or something because they're so long lived. So there's like a whole 20, 30 years of stuff that happens or whatever between like. So yeah, we might see more of that. We might see more of these flashbacks.
So, but to answer that question, I don't think they're going to take Mandalore this season. I think you're right. There's some Mandalorian sect that's loyal to the Empire, which means they're loyal to Moff Gideon. If that is the case, they have to deal with that. I'm pretty sure we'll see Sabine. It makes more sense to me now that the fourth season, there's a fourth season coming up. And I really think the fourth season is them actually bringing into fruit the capture of Mandalore.
Like the whole fourth season could be that story.
I think so. And then basically what you guys are saying, it'll transition away from Din Djarin to Bo-Katan in season 4. You know what I'm saying? Which I'll be perfectly happy with. And this is my hope. A predictor. I really hope Boba Fett comes back. And like they redeem him, and that he's like a Hutt basically who has all this money in the world. We talked about it a long time ago, but I really hope that he can be a financier of like, hey, I could give you a fleet, I could give you a star fleet.
That's a fair point. You know? He's got money.
He's got money.
Yeah.
He's got a freaking Wookiee as a bodyguard, right? Yeah. So I just think that
he's got a Rancor. That he can ride.
Yes, exactly, dude. And so it's just
and he has some guys in a Vespa too, so a Vespa crew.
See, I think that, to be fair though, it would be nice like that actor again. I think he's a good actor, and that show was not. He didn't write it or direct it.
Yeah, right.
It'd be great if he got a chance to come back and make Boba Fett cool again.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like, how cool would it be if you had like him sitting on a captain's chair? Like in that Corsair ship, you see Boba Fett with his old school armor in a captain's chair running a fleet of Mandalorian fighters. You know what I'm saying? And just like come in, swoop against the Empire over Mandalore. That would be freaking boss, dude. I would love to see that. So,
I mean, he's got no love lost for the Empire, I guess, right?
Exactly. So, yep. So yeah. So I think that's what's gonna happen. And that's what honestly, I think the Mythosaur will get tamed or bested in this season, and then we'll see Mandalore. Yeah, so in season 4.
Well, I think we milked this episode dry today. Thank you, Simon, for joining us and really livening up this episode, because I don't think me and Jordan could have handled it without you. Really appreciate that.
It's all because of my Korean uncle. Thank you,
saving us,
Captain Tevas. You're the best.
But with that, everyone, have a good night. Can't wait for episode 6. You guys don't gotta go home. We gotta get the hell out of here.
All right.